Deep inside my heart, I've God's everlasting love. It shining like the sun, radiates with everyone. And the more that I've got, the more I've got to give. It's the way that I live, it's what I'm living for. Deep inside my heart, got this everlasting love. It's shining like the sun, radiates with everyone. And the more that I got, the more I've got to give. It's the way that I live, it's what I'm living for.
Today is the girl of the hour.
The Rainbow family are an earth-conscious tribe that stretches the globe over with no official members, leaders or organisers. We believe that all life is one, and so we choose to gather in principle of this family. We are Rainbow because we are all people of the infinite colours are welcome to join us. We have been blessed to gain permission by the Cabaret Aboriginal caretakers to gather at the valley. We will be gathering on sacred land. We will be respectful, receptive to the land, and let it heal and sustain you.
Hello beautiful creatures, and welcome back to my channel, Girl of the Hour. My name's Jade. If you haven't already watched any of my videos, welcome to my channel. Today I will be talking about my experience at Rainbow Gathering. Yeah, so let's just get on started, shall we? Basically, I flew into Launceston in the morning. My flight was a little bit delayed, so it ended up being quite early in the afternoon by the time I actually got to Launceston. And my auntie and my cousin picked me up, which was really beautiful. I haven't seen them both for about 7 or 8 years. We've all been really close, but it's really hard when we live in a different state to be able to see each other all the time. So they picked me up, which was really lovely. And we dropped Jackson off home, and then we went on this road trip off into the abyss of the bush. So we ended up going to Forth, which is a little bit off Devonport in Launceston, to this campsite for Rainbow Gathering. And we basically drove out there until we got to a dirt road, and we ended up hiking downhill into the valley where our campsite would be. Now, once we got there, we were welcomed by this beautiful commune of people who were in a circle, obviously around their food, because it would have been food time by then, about 5 or 6 o'clock, and they all yelled out, "Welcome, family!" And we both felt really really blessed to be able to have that kind of welcoming into this area. And as we did, we came and dropped our stuff down, and we joined this circle with rocks, actually, because we didn't have any plates out at the time. We'd left them at the campsite, and we just grabbed some rocks and we ate some food in this communal circle, which I'll explain why that is in a moment. So then from there we ended up going to our campsite. We ended up camping with these bunch of women, these older women called the crones, is what they call themselves. And one of the lead crones had actually organised a tent and some bedding for us, so we had already had that, and we dropped our stuff and we kind of went for a wander around the campsite. Now, this block of land is very untouched land, so it wasn't created for camping. It was more a space in which you could camp on more than a creation for camping, if that makes sense. So there was a lot of wildlife, there's a lot of native plants, there's a lot of native vegetation as well. So it was really, really beautiful to be able to be amongst that. So we saw a lot of paddy mullins and wallabies. If you don't know what those two animals are, they're native to Australia. They're really cute and beautiful. Please have a look on Google for them, because they're really adorable. They were just jumping around everywhere. Didn't matter whether you were close to them or not. They were very comfortable being around us in nature, which was really lovely to see. We basically spent most of our time down by the river. There's a river that backs onto the property, and it's a freshwater river, and it was just absolutely gorgeous. There was a few little waterfalls there. and we spent a lot of time naked, which nudity is very important to myself and to my auntie. It is very sacred to us. I feel probably most comfortable naked, just because I feel like it is my true self, and it was really beautiful to be able to spend majority of my time there naked. So most of the stuff that I actually brought, I didn't use. Maybe some headscarves here and there. I used my scarves to maybe cover up if I was going to the food gathering. I'd just cover up my bottoms and have my top out, but for the most part I did actually just spend my time completely naked in nature, which was really lovely. Whilst always doing that, there were a few workshops that were happening from the people who were living there at the time, but we didn't particularly participate in that, and it wasn't because we didn't want to. It was just more we were enjoying the time that we had together, me and my aunt, discussing things that were probably a little bit more difficult to discuss with others, and just kind of working together as two very strong, independent adult women to kind of counsel each other through things that are happening in our lives, which was really beautiful. And I'm so very thankful for that time that I had with her. If you're watching, Auntie Mish, love you, and thank you so much for the time that we had together. I really did enjoy reflecting with you. The times in which we were surrounded by people were mainly when we were getting food, which was done twice a day, or there was a proper event on where everyone was gathering. So the food was done like so. So basically at the kitchen, someone would yell food circle, and that would mean that the other campsites would echo it so that the whole environment could hear it, and that meant that we were prepping the food, so anyone who wanted to volunteer and prep the food could go down and do that. So that would happen in the morning and in the evening. So you would have someone be like, food circle, and then everyone else would be like, food circle, food circle, food circle, and then everyone would gather around and help out with cooking and making food. And once that was kind of yelled out, then, maybe 20-30 minutes later, you would get the food circle now, sacred fire, which was basically everyone had to go down to the sacred fire, and that's where we would have the food. There is no concept of time or days there at all. Nobody really had a watch. Nobody really had the date. So it was really reliant on just those very loud sort of primitive calls that happened, which was really actually interesting. I kind of felt a little bit free not having time or a date. So yeah, it was really great. So once we went down to the food circle to collect our food, there'd be food in the middle, and everyone would stand in a circle surrounding the food, holding hands. Now from there we would do some sacred rainbow chants, which if you don't know what rainbow chants are, I will put the link below with some chants below, but they're basically songs of happiness and gratitude and love, which is really quite beautiful. So we would all sing these chants together, really heartfelt, holding hands, really feeling the connection between sacred people and beautiful conscious people. And we would finish with an om, which kind of centered ourselves, and then from there we would sit down and we would eat a meal together. So that was really lovely to kind of have that time in which you felt like you were a part of this really beautiful family. And once we had done that, we had time to kind of socialize with others or to go off and do your own thing. So me and my aunt would often socialize a little bit, and then we would go off and do our own thing, whether it meant swimming naked in the river or sitting up on the hill naked and just enjoying the sunshine and being able to reflect and talk in nature. So it was really lovely. Not only that happened, but we also had a night which is Cabaret Night, and that was a Saturday night. So we all came together on a Saturday night around this amazing fire, which me and my aunt, we were lucky enough to be able to be sitting right next to the fire. And we had kind of a showcase where everyone could get up and demonstrate a talent. So whether it be poetry or dancing or singing or acting or like a short story or a funny joke, anyone would be able to express whatever they felt. And that kind of went all night on Saturday night, which was really beautiful. We had one guy who played the didgeridoo, and I almost fell into this beautiful trance. It was so amazing sitting around the fire listening to the didgeridoo, which for me is a really primitive thing, and it really feels very natural to me. So yeah, it was really, really beautiful. So yeah, we basically did that, and me and my aunt would go back to our camp of an evening, and just talk all night about everything. We just spent so much time talking, which was really lovely. So all around, my experience at Rainbow Gathering was really quite beautiful. I did really enjoy it. In saying that, it is not for everyone, it is quite niche, and I think that there would be a lot of people who would feel quite overwhelmed by the experience that happened there. I know I had times where I did feel quite overwhelmed by the energy and the experience that was happening there, and by the people. There were times where I did feel a little bit out of my box or out of comfort, which is very unusual for me because I really am quite open, but sometimes it was just a little bit too much for me, which is when I kind of had to go off and either do my own thing or swim in the river or kind of be in my own space, which I spent a lot of time doing while I was there, which I think for me was what my purpose was to be there, was to kind of reflect and be in my own space. So yeah, I did all round enjoy it, and I would definitely consider going back. But in saying that, I think I would probably have the same experience where, you know, I spent a lot of time by myself in nature, which I love, and took some amazing photos, which you're welcome to see on my Instagram. My Instagram is Jadestone. Please have a look at my wonderful pictures that I took there. Some beautiful nudity in nature, which for me is very sacred to me, and I'm really happy to be able to share that with the general world. So yeah, I had a wonderful experience, and would suggest it to anyone who's very open-minded, open-hearted, and kind of within this sort of this very hippie culture. So yeah, if you're thinking about it, please go ahead and do it, just for the wonderful experience. Also, I will be going to Rainbow Serpent this week. I would have loved to be able to do a video of what I would be bringing, but unfortunately my stuff has already been packed and taken away because I will be leaving on Friday morning to go to Rainbow Serpent and working, so I'm doing some volunteering. I'm super psyched about Rainbow Serpent. It's one of those places where you can go and you can just enjoy time in nature, time being free and happy and colourful, and do lots and lots of workshops. I tend to do belly dancing and yoga and meditation and sound healing and permaculture talks, so I just absorb so much when I'm there, and I find it really beneficial for my soul every time that I'm there. So I'll be there for 5 days, leaving on Friday, coming back on Tuesday, I think. Yeah, volunteering, which means I'll be able to kind of help out wherever I can, with people who are in need or people who need to have help. So I'm really excited to do that. If you're at Rainbow Serpent, please come and find me and say hello. I would love to meet you all and give you a big hug. I love meeting wonderful new people, so please come down. When I get back from Rainbow Serpent, I will discuss with you my experience that I have there. I've had some really interesting experiences in the past. Last time I went, I met a beautiful man who I had met in my past, and we had this amazing sort of, I don't know, romantic encounter on top of a hill, looking at the stars, eating bananas and just talking. And for me, that really stuck with me. So I think, yeah, I've really had some amazing experiences there at Rainbow, so I hope to come back with some beautiful stories that I can share with you all. So that's kind of my experience that I've had at Rainbow Gathering and what I will be doing at Rainbow Serpent. I hope to see you all in the near future on my channel. Thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe, follow and share. I absolutely love you all. Have a wonderful week.